Welcome to Friends and Fiction. 4 New York Times bestselling authors, endless stories. Novelists Mary Kay Andrews, Kristin Harmel, Kristy Woodson Harvey, and Patti Callahan Henry are 4 longtime friends with more than 70 published books between them. Together, they host Friends and Fiction, with author interviews and fascinating insider talk about publishing and writing, to highlight and support independent bookstores. They discuss the books they've written, the books they're reading now, and the art of storytelling. If you love books and you're curious about the writing world, you're in the right place. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Friends and Fiction Show. I'm Kristin Harmel.
I'm Mary Kay Andrews.
I'm Patti Callahan Henry.
And this is Friends and Fiction. We are 4 New York Times bestselling authors who gather every week. We pull back the curtain on the writing life and talk about the books you'll cancel your plans to read.
And in addition to this web show that you are watching right now, we have a Facebook group of more than 330,000 members, and it grows every single day. A YouTube channel, a podcast, an Instagram feed, a separate book club, and a killer newsletter on Substack. We are a book community like no other.
And we love the story behind the story and talking about the moment when a book grabs you and will not let go. And we are here tonight, just like we have been every single Wednesday night for the past 6 years, to do just that.
So you can find out more about us and all we have to offer at friendsandfiction.com. And just a footnote, our 4th co-host, Kristy Woodson Harvey, is off tonight, but you will see her on next week's episode.
So tonight, we go behind the pages of the new novel, The Ending Writes Itself, with author duo V.E. Schwab and Clarke, writing under the joint pseudonym of Evelyn Clarke. And just as a reminder for all of you out there, this is a live show. So if you have questions for Victoria and Kat as we chat, post them in the comments and we will try to ask a few.
So before we get rolling with our 2 incredible guests, we want to raise a glass to something else very special. Next week, wait, can I do my drum roll?
Drum roll it up.
You must.
Next week is the 6th anniversary of Friends and Fiction. 6 years. We have showed up here every single Wednesday night. We thought it was going to be 6 weeks. We started on a whim during the early days of the pandemic, hoping to connect with you, with readers, with community, to support indie bookstores and libraries. And here we are.
You know, we thought we'd do 7 episodes, then return to our normal lives.
That's if we ever had them.
Yeah, what's normal if you're a writer? Instead, 6 years later, this is our 311th episode. It is such an honor to be back with you all week after week with our favorite writers and, of course, with all of you book lovers.
All of you out there are the beating heart of this community, and we are so grateful to you for tuning in, coming out to see us live at our live and in-person events, supporting our books, and being part of our family. It means so much to all of us.
So please join us. You know, it's kind of an F&F for tradition. Back in the early days, we were drinking to forget. Now we're drinking to celebrate. So please join us in raising a toast, a glass or a mug, or, you know, Ovaltine, whatever you're drinking out there, to toast the 6th anniversary of Friends and Fiction. Cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
All right. Well, I cannot think of a better anniversary gift for us than to bring on the writers of one of the most anticipated books of the year, which Stephen King himself says is in the running for the best mystery of 2026.
The name on the book jacket is Evelyn Clarke, but much like the private windswept Scottish island on which the characters find themselves, all is not as it appears. In fact, Evelyn Clarke is the pseudonym for a writing duo composed of 2 very accomplished writers, Kat Clarke and V. Schwab.
Victoria, who writes as V. Schwab, has made quite a name for herself with more than 20 books, including the Shades of Magic series and the incredibly successful The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue.
Yeah.
But she swore that she would never co-write a novel, let alone one without a fantasy element.
Promises, promises. Kat, following a tumultuous career as an editor and the author of several YA novels, including Girlhood and Entangled, had fled the publishing industry to work in the even more tumultuous film industry, swearing another promise, another broken promise, to never return to books.
And yet fate and an irresistible idea made liars of them both.
Yes.
Wait to talk to them about the book that they dreamed up together, The Ending Writes Itself, which just came out yesterday. Sean, can you bring them on?
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, ladies. Hey, so good to see you.
Good to see you. We come to you from book tour, as you can tell by the wonderful hotel decor.
It actually looks like
shows
we're in the
we've
same
done
place. Yeah,
with
it looks
hotel
like we're in the
tour.
same place as Mary Kay. Like, it looks a similar background, right?
Mary Kay's far more
Yeah.
comfortable and has a glass of wine.
I mean, I think we could probably get on the horn and order you guys a little something.
We could. It is only 4 p.m. and we have an event to do tonight.
Oh,
but we
that's
will be
right.
drinking later.
That's right.
Okay. So, Victoria and Kat, welcome to Friends in Fiction. We are so excited to talk with you about this great book. So, in The Ending Writes Itself, as we said, one of the most anticipated books of the year, we have 6 authors, 1 private island, and 72 hours for each of those authors to write a killer ending. So our friend Karen Slaughter says it's both a great locked room thriller and a brilliant satire on the publishing industry. Can you tell us a little bit more about what the book's about? And then our favorite question, what is the book really about at its core? Victoria, can we start with you?
Sure. So the book is about 6 struggling authors, 6 midlist authors, right? Midlist used to be the backbone of the publishing industry
Yes.
and has collapsed over time, like all aspects of class and culture, it feels like. But 6 struggling authors who get an invitation for what they believe is a literary salon on, imagine the most famous author in the world's private Scottish island. And they go thinking that they're going to have a chance to meet this author, to spend some time in his presence and, meet their colleagues. They arrive to find that this famous author has died without finishing his most anticipated novel of his career, and presumably what he had already announced was going to be the last one. Not only is he dead, but the publisher has brought these 6 authors there in the hopes that one of them can figure out the best ending for his book in the next 72 hours. And the winner will get not only to ghostwrite that for an extraordinary sum, but get a new 3-book deal of their own to relaunch their career with all of the publishing support that they might not have had before. And then, of course, people start dying.
I love it. It's such a great setup. Okay, Kat, can you tackle our favorite question? We know now what the book is about. Can you tell us what the book is really about?
I mean, it came from a place of trauma for us. It's about what publishing, the business, does to writers as artists.
Yeah.
And basically, it's kind of a love letter to authors. And
I love that.
And the fact that we may come from different genres, but we have so much more in common than sets us apart.
Yeah.
And just what some authors might be willing to do to break out of the midlist. But it's not, we take a lot of jabs at the publishing industry, but we're taking jabs at the system, not the people within it, because it's full of incredibly hardworking, passionate people.
Absolutely. Great
So
answer.
interesting.
Okay, I'm going to stop for a minute because I have to try to improve my lighting here. One moment. Is that any better?
Yeah, you're good.
Apparently, I look like I'm appearing out of a closet. Okay. We love talking on the show about where ideas come from, but I'm especially interested in asking you because Victoria, or Vixter, as we now agreed we could.
Oh, you did that.
I went there. Okay, Vixter.
Everyone knows this is not a name that emerged until the green room right before this show. I have made it 38 years on this earth. Mary Kay without being called a nickname, and here we are.
I'm sorry. I'm especially interested in asking you because you, Vixter, you swore you'd never co-write a book, and Kat, you swore you were done.
Yep.
Finished with publishing. I'm going to ask you in a moment what changed and how this book came about, but let's start at the beginning. How did the two of you become friends? Kat?
Oh, gosh. It happened 15 years ago in a way that we would never become friends with anybody now. We met on Twitter.
Oh, wow.
And we were both baby YA writers, and Victoria was living in Liverpool in a bazaar.
I was living in an ex-prison warden's garden shed.
As one does.
As bad as it sounds.
So that's why you came to visit Edinburgh.
Yes.
And I saw that V was visiting Edinburgh, and I didn't know her, but I knew she was a fellow YA writer. So I was like, oh, let's meet up. I'll show you around, which I would never make that offer today. You would never say yes.
I would never accept that offer today. So we're in it together, but we were different people. And so we just hung out.
Yeah. And then you moved.
I'm eventually moved to Edinburgh, where I've been for almost a decade, and we live less than a mile apart. And so I literally would go over to Kat's kitchen table every now and then, and we would sit and hash out our respective publishing traumas.
Yes. That's amazing.
So no more prison wardens sheds.
It does sound nice, though.
It doesn't. Nothing about it sounds nice. It makes for a good story.
It does.
But when I say garden shed, I just want you to actually imagine the kind you would get from Home Depot. Imagine putting that in a backyard and then putting a single bed in it and calling it a room for rent.
Oh, sounds like a VRBO nightmare.
That also sounds like a good book idea.
VRBO. It would definitely be like a Craigslist ad.
Okay, now how did you come up? I don't know. Are you sitting at Kat's kitchen table? How did you come up with the idea for this book? And what traumas brought you to the place where you knew you had to write it? Dexter?
I'm responsible for bringing it to Kat. Basically what happened was I was actually out in LA doing some meetings, as you do, that they never come to anything. But, and one of my agents was telling me this anecdote about a novelization project. And for everyone here, not among you, but the audience who doesn't know necessarily, novelization, this were either Marvel or Star Wars or DC, I don't remember what, but basically a novelization, the way it gets made is that it gets written alongside the film being made. And so what happens is, because the film's not out, the writer who is hired to do the novelization is usually invited into a room, provided with the script and a pad of paper and a pencil, and they cannot take the script away. So you're in essentially a locked room. And I heard this anecdote and I thought, wow, the only thing that would make that even more stressful is knowing that there are other people in other locked rooms trying to get the same job. And so that was the seed of it. And I came to Kat and I was like, I just have this weird little idea. It doesn't fit my brand because I'm a fantasy author. So I'd need to write it under a pseudonym anyway. Now here's where the story goes. There's a fork in the path, and I start down one fork and then we have to backtrack. So I said, if I write the novel, would you write the adaptation?
And I thought that was a great deal because it's quicker. It's less work.
Yeah.
You have the amazing raw material from the Vixter.
I want, Mary Kay, you have created a problem that is going to follow me for the rest of my life. So
you're welcome.
Everyone here gets 3 more over the course of the entire interview. So you just use one.
Okay.
So yeah.
Sean is saying backstage Vic stress.
No Vic stress. No. Starting now is only 3 anyway.
And so I thought that was a great deal. But then V went away.
I went away for
a few hours,
a night, and I started to brainstorm how to build this story. Because I'm an outliner. I'm sure we'll all get to that. But and I came back the next morning and I was like, well, just kidding. This is actually way more work. So if you want to do the adaptation, you have to write the book with me.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I said no.
Yeah, you said no, and I said, but it'll be fun.
And that was it. That was
well. And then and Kat says that I made her, but that's at no point was there a threat. At no point was there anything except me saying it'll be fun. No. You'll notice I said it'll be fun. I did not say it would always be fun. I didn't say it would only be fun. But here we are.
Some fun will occur.
Some fun
in the making of this book
will occur.
And the friendship has endured, right?
Yeah.
It survived.
It's all
It
that matters.
survived. Somehow it's grown. I mean, we've learned so much about each other, not only as people, but as creatives, that I think you can only learn by working this intensely and this closely.
A lot of it you wish you knew beforehand, right?
No, I think maybe there should have been one or two disclaimers, but I feel like you could have said the same thing about me. Kat knew I was notoriously difficult to work with because I myself said that I would not co-write. And it wasn't because I didn't like working with other people. It's because I also understand that I am the kind of person that other people would not enjoy working with. I'm very, very intense,
self-awareness.
Very self-aware.
Okay, now you just made me have to ask, Kat, what's so difficult about working with V?
Thank you.
Oh, there's the safe for the internet answer, which is, well, she's just so damn good.
Oh, that's a great answer.
It's very intimidating.
It's a great answer.
Working with an extremely talented New York Times bestselling author.
What would you say more honestly?
That is also very true. That is true. It was very intimidating. That is the truth. But I guess it's all the commas.
Yeah. I have emotional support commas. That's the thing. I love a comma. It's a thing you
like
can
a salt shaker.
Exactly.
That's a lot of salt you use.
We are really different writers. I'm an extreme planner. Like I write the ending of all of my books first. I know the ending and then I rewind to find the beginning. I plan it like an architect, and you are a vibes person.
I'm a vibes person.
This is a dangerous combination.
Just go with the flow.
But the good thing is I dragged Kat into architecture. I was like, oh no, we shan't be finding vibes.
No, you can't. Like if you're writing with someone else, you have to plot it out. Like you have to.
Yeah.
I don't think it's possible otherwise. I can't imagine how.
Yeah. We learned that you have aphantasia.
I do.
Which is not a thing that I knew about. And for anyone who doesn't know, that's where you don't see things in your mind.
Nope.
Yeah. So
just know about the Apple test?
Yeah, that's how we found it out.
Go around in your head. That's how you know you had it. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, we found it out because we hit the first moment of description, and we work kind of over the top of each other. We don't split the work by points of view, and we hit Kat went in to lay down kind of the groundwork on an early scene, and while I was working on something else, and then she passed it over to me, and I noticed that like a paragraph down there was a bracket. What did the bracket say?
The bracket, it was highlighted yellow, and it said, "V, please describe the house / castle."
That was it.
Well, I think I added a bit of detail. Like it has a big door.
You added a link to an Airbnb that you were like, I think it might look like this.
It's like a real thing. Like for people who don't know, there's a test where you can close your eyes and try to imagine an apple. And most of us can do it. But the people who can't, they don't even see the apple. I turn it around. I can see a bite.
It's very sad for us.
I think it's incredible. I think it's incredible that people with aphantasia are still like you're storytelling. You're just storytelling in a different. I mean, I think would you?
That's why there's so much dialogue.
This is the thing. I actually think it makes Kat an extraordinary screenwriter because screenwriting is a living document that is then to be interpreted by visual artists.
Yes, most people think that screenwriters would definitely be able to picture stuff
because it's dialogue and.
No, but you need to set the scene.
You have to set the scene, but for those watching or listening, screenwriting though, you have to set the scene as economically as possible.
Yes, as few words as you can.
Like 2 to 3 sentences.
And that's why I love it.
Ugh. Meanwhile, I am the other extreme of the Apple concept, which is that I actually play an entire film in my mind. Yeah. And then my job is to write the film onto paper so that the exact film plays in the reader's mind.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating. Our minds are so crazy. Okay. So Victoria, people know you so well for fantasy, and Kat, you've moved through so many storytelling worlds, including editing, young adult fiction, as we just talked about, screenwriting, without the apple rotating in your head. Now, the two of you have written a full-on mystery thriller. I mean, that is what it is. And Stephen King, Be Still My Heart for a Stephen King blurb, please.
I know.
That was a day.
I almost broke our secrecy. Our identity was still a secret at the time. And I almost threw the whole thing out. I was like, I don't care. I'm posting it on the internet. And I was held back. Anyway, we'll have a Stephen King love fest later, but he even gave this novel a wonderful Agatha Christie comparison.
So I would love to know, beyond you coming to Kat with this idea, what tempted you to walk into this genre, both of you? A genre you'd never done. So Kat, let's start with you.
Well, I didn't have a choice, as discussed.
You did.
But I've always loved reading thrillers and mysteries. I love Agatha Christie.
That's what I was wondering. Okay.
I love authors like Ruth Ware, Val McDermid. And yeah, love Knives Out, the movies. And so I think if it was going to be like a sort of straight murder mystery thriller without the sort of publishing satire and humor, I probably would have struggled. But as soon as we realized we wanted it to be something else as well, I was like, ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah, why be one thing when you can be more? And I think the last few years have been at a stage of my career where I'm really interested in like cross-pollination.
I like that. Yeah.
And like most of my fantasy novels are also kind of thrillers. They involve a ticking clock. They involve a heist or an urgency. Like I most of my genre work is also horror or, suspense. And so I'm really interested in how to not try to subcategorize specificity, but to instead make like many, many railroad crossings. And weirdly, the thing that drew me most to this idea is something I can't tell you because it is a huge spoiler, but it was a structural element of the story and how the perspectives would intertwine.
Oh, wow. So that makes we've all already read it, but yeah. If you don't pick it up now, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. And I love Knives Out, and I love any of these old mysteries where the red herrings are dropped, the reveals have to land at the exact right moment. And I can't imagine being able to do that without that kind of intricate plotting.
And we both read really widely. And I think the trick is like when you're playing with tropes is like really acknowledging the act. So an example I've been using a lot lately is a magician. Really talented magicians these days. I think of like some of the Netflix ones. Justin, I can never remember. Justin.
I know who you talk about.
Yeah. I can't remember his last name. Starts with a W. He's brilliant, and he does this thing where he essentially will show you 3 magic tricks. And the idea is he's going to show you that the first 2 are magic tricks. So he's going to show you how it works to make you understand that you're ahead of him. But then he's going to do the 3rd magic trick, and it's going to show you that you can't actually keep up. And so I think when you're playing with tropes, it's about letting the reader catch you as many times as you get away from them, so that it's not really about trying to be the cleverest. It's just about timing that final trick so that you don't catch it.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that because when we pick a genre, even if we pick 4 genres because the most powerful stories have more than one, like you said, right? There's a myth along with a fantasy, along with a mystery, along with right? If you know the tropes in each of those, you can use them to great effect while twisting them on their heads.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just like you've done.
Well, and you can't really, we talked about this last night at our event. Like we're not trying to reinvent.
No.
To use a different metaphor, like you go into the kitchen, you have 10 ingredients. Every writer has the same 10 ingredients. It's what you make with them. And so I think anytime you gave the example of someone coming into a new genre, what did you say about that? About like, and then acting like they've created something.
Well, it's often a man. It's often a man who writes literary fiction who swans into, say, science fiction and is like, I'm here with my startling new ideas. I don't know where this is.
There's a planet with other people on it.
Yes.
It does a lot of interviews with all the big newspapers saying, there's nothing like this.
It's never been done
before. And everyone in that genre who's read it is like, oh no.
Because it's like you haven't read it. It doesn't mean it hasn't been done. So it's very presumptuous.
Yeah.
To come into any genre and be like, we're going to do something new.
And also to come into any genre and not even be bothered to read any of it is
to understand its beats.
Exactly. Yeah. That's how you play them. That's how you say, hey, I know we're playing with an extremely, extremely well-used deck of cards.
Yeah.
So what can we do?
Love that.
Oh, I love that. Okay. Well, another thing that's so delightful about this book, I think, particularly for those of us on the screen here today, is that it's really a peek behind the curtain of publishing. Although I would like to hope that the events that unfold on the page here are the worst case scenario and that this is not what we can actually expect from our next author retreat. But you managed to give us an amusing insight into so very many genres of fiction, from thriller to YA to sci-fi to horror to romance. Can you talk to us a little bit about what appealed to you about the chance to satirize the publishing industry a little bit?
We'll go ahead.
I mean, the trauma that we've experienced over the years. I mean, I left for a reason, and just the chance to kind of tell these stories. Like, there were a lot of publishing horror stories in the book that the writers tell each other over dinner and a few drinks, and every single one of those stories is true. It either happened to us or to someone we know. Yeah. So we just had to make sure we disguised,
yes,
some crucial details. But it all happened, and it's really fun. I think I always enjoy getting a little insight into any different industry.
Yeah.
Like watching The West Wing years ago, like, what was it like to work, in the White House? now, or something like the studio.
Yes, which gives you a sense. I think we have several really opaque industries in the arts. We have film, and we have music, and we have books, and I think they're opaque to the reader, but there's a degree of opacity between writers. Mm-hmm. And that's why when authors get together, when they open a bottle of wine and when they break bread, the horror stories tend to come out because it's really lonely. Yes. Industry, and it's designed to be lonely because it's designed so that you cannot compare notes easily because publishers don't want you to. And so this sense of isolation that happens, it happens at the bottom, it happens at the top, but I feel like it's worst in the midlist because you truly are kind of led to believe that if your book is falling short, it is a reflection of the quality of the work and not the fact that this is a game that is as much stubborn grit and luck and timing as it is talent.
Mm-hmm. So true. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Okay, so I also feel like in the book, each of the characters is they're defined really solidly by the genre in which they write to some extent, but there are also exceptions to those stereotypes. How do you both, it just made me think reading this, how do you both feel about the inclination of the publishing industry to label us as a certain kind of writer and to expect us to some extent to stay squarely in that box? Like, you write fantasy, so that's what you have to keep writing, or you write young adult, so that's what you have to keep writing. How do you feel about the inclination of the industry to sort of label us that way?
Like, I understand why they feel like they need to do that. Like, from a business point of view, if you take on an author who's writing romance and then suddenly they come to you with a blood-soaked horror manuscript, that's going to be tricky. I mean, just have a pseudonym, I guess. Yeah. But it might not be an imprint that would do horror. So I get it, but for artists to be confined in that way is really limiting. Like, some people do want to stay in the same genre, and that's brilliant. But also you often want to stretch things, don't you? Yeah. And that's always what we want to do, is kind of stretch the boundaries of the genres.
There's also like a lot of assumption, especially as women and femme presenting people in the space. Like, I haven't written YA really in years, but the fact is I am always assumed to be a YA author because I am a relatively young woman in any sense. And I'll never forget that when I first started in the industry, even when I was a YA author, it's said with such denigration. Yep. And like, I went to my very first book conference when I was a baby, like right when my debut novel came out. And the thing about book conferences, especially like science fiction and fantasies, they give you the worst job. The younger you are, they give you the worst job. They give you the spot nobody wants. So I was given like a 10 p.m. metafiction panel with 3 65-year-old white men with beards, okay? And I went into this room, and there's probably like 20 people in the audience. And I'm so excited. I'm like doe-eyed. I'm so just happy to be there. And I get up on stage to take my spot. And the man nearest me turns to me and goes, "Oh, honey, I think you're in the wrong room." Oh, and like, it was gutting. And then you think, okay, well, I was a debut. And it would happen year after year after I was already a New York Times bestseller. I'd go to a conference and people, mostly men, would try to explain storytelling to me, assuming that I just had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then I would get up and I would go sit on the panel and they sit in the audience.
Yes. Yes.
It's wild to me. So there's a lot of we're looking to try and explore and break down a lot of the assumptions that the genres make about each other. But those are assumptions that are the kind of whispered in our ear the whole time, right? Yeah. They're kind of indoctrinated into us from within and from without.
You're totally right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I started off writing
quality thing that happens.
What's that?
Oh, it's a qualitative judgment. There's a ranking. Literary comes above genre, adult comes above YA. Yeah. Other genres come above romance. Everything happens in this weird ladder.
Do you not think sometimes we do it to ourselves though? In certain genres, we present in a certain way. I'm thinking of young adult authors acting like teenagers,
but they don't. But again,
some of them do. Some of them do, and some of them are made.
But I do think I'll never understand the ones that are I just feel like I'm still in high school. I couldn't get out fast enough. But there is also these days. We started in 2011. In 2026, the amount of pressure that young adult authors are getting now to present as young, attractive, to sell themselves as a product over the story. The vessel of storyteller has to be more marketable than the story that's being told. And that's horrible.
That is social media's fault, right?
Yeah.
TikTok stars who write a novel, the whole thing. Yes.
It's social media's fault, but then I feel like to some extent the industry has bought into it and supported it and rewarded that,
Think about it. Ever since, especially since the pandemic, there are fewer people doing more work, which means the editors are overstrained. So then they're put on pressure to acquire things which are going to be guaranteed hits, which is impossible. And so then they go to TikTok and they say, okay, this person already has 1 million followers. Yeah. So we know that they're going to be an easy P&L sheet. They're going to be an easy sell in-house because they're going to come with their own audience. And then we don't have to go out and create an audience for them because it used to be, this is my soapbox, right? Kat's heard this. It used to be a 5-touch system. It used to be you touched a product 5 times before you bought it. Now we're up to 50. Everyone is just being completely indoctrinated, or completely inundated with media. So then they never know what to buy.
Yeah, that's such a good point.
And I really like what you said about the vessel versus the product, right? How we've lost sight of, this is the package you're getting instead of this is the story you're getting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that we fantasize about, being Donna Tartt's. And it's not just about being Donna Tartt level talent and fame. It's because she shows up, she drops a book, and she disappears.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's true. Can I ask, is that part of what made you want to write this with at first it was a secret pseudonym at the beginning, right? I mean, it wasn't obvious from the beginning that it was the two of you writing this. Was it partially because of these things?
I would have been delighted if it had stayed that way. But that, again, in the reality of the publishing industry, that was never, ever going to happen.
It might have 20 years ago.
You would have kind of liked it.
I would have loved it. But it became very clear very quickly. They're oh, you want us to give you a marketing plan with your book deal? One of you already has a ton of followers that we can capitalize on. It's not going to be a secret for
we did have to slightly fight to just say Evelyn Clarke on the cover and
I forgot that.
Yeah, and not Evelyn Clarke, who's actually V.
They literally at some point very early on, they were what if we put both your names on the cover, writing as Evelyn Clarke?
No.
I just wanted us to have the freedom to that to that point, Kristin, we just wanted to play.
Yeah.
We wanted to have a shield. And that's just the nature of, I understand it's marketing.
What about the puppets though?
Okay. Tell the puppets.
We had this great idea that we would never appear on social media apart from in the form of these puppets that kind of terrifying Muppets. That we would, be off screen, making their arms move, making the mouth. And we thought this was hilarious.
Incredible.
And we told our editor in quite a big Zoom meeting, wasn't it?
Our first official kickoff.
Yeah, we were how about this? And it was, nothing.
You thought the screen froze.
Oh, yeah. There was no reaction.
They were not amused.
And we were like, okay.
And I had already bought the puppets. It was
we have
really
the puppets.
like that. We have the puppets. But
Let's see 'em.
we're going to bring them out
We're
at
gonna bring
some
back the
point
puppets.
for ourselves.
I want to see
Because-
the puppets.
Oh, and there, I want you to picture, like, if a Jim Henson Muppet got left in the rain and trampled on for a few days.
Yeah, and put in the trash.
Put in the trash,
Yeah.
and then you tried to blow dry them. That's what because that's represented how we felt in publishing. We were like, look, it's us, it's our avatars, and they were like, no. Sell books.
Well, we're glad you're here in the flesh in real life, because you two are an absolute delight. And your puppets might have been fun, but not as fun as
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you.
But I really
Yes.
want to see the puppets.
I'm gonna send you a picture.
We're
of the
gonna bring out the
puppets.
puppets.
I'll see if I can pull it
Yeah.
up while we're doing this.
Amazing.
All right.
So there's a Vixter puppet and a cat puppet.
Yeah, that's it.
There's a kitty cat and there's a Vixter.
Cat and
Vixter and kitty cat. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. We have so
Right.
many live questions coming in right now. Mary Kay, do you want to grab one for them?
Yeah, Francine Katzen, who's one of our favorite FNF regulars. Did you guys get to pick the cover?
No, we had consultation.
Yeah.
We were consulted on the cover.
We had consultation and we were using one of my longtime cover designers, Will Stolley, who is an extraordinary cover designer who has done a lot of the incredible, like everyone from Stephen King and Michael Crichton to the new Matt Dinniman. So he has a very graphic, bold style.
So all of the options were amazing.
All of them were great.
Oh, cool.
And I think we really like the trompe l'oeil, like the trick of the eye of the book on the book on the book.
Oh,
Yeah, and I think it's fun. It pops, and then in the UK, the red and the white are switched, so it goes red, white, red. And they have more text on it because
Just
they
loads more words.
They like putting all the quotes just right there on the front. But no, we didn't get to pick, but we got consultation, and that's more than a lot of authors get.
Mm-hmm.
that
And I
is-
love the little drip coming down.
Isn't that delicious?
Yes, so good.
Yeah, you gotta have a little blood drip.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of bodies.
So good.
Patti, do you want to pull a question?
I would love to. Okay, this is from Rachel Rubin. And I really like this because now I want to know. She said, I pre-ordered The Ending Writes Itself. By the way, all of you, we love pre-orders. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
I pre-ordered The Ending Writes Itself from the Portobello Bookshop in Edinburgh, even though I live in Chicago, because it's supposed to be an exclusive edition. Is it true that you both wrote some of it there?
Well, it's our local bookshop.
Yes.
We're big friends of the shop, and it is an exclusive edition. It has gorgeous
It has a pen.
sprayed edges.
Yeah.
Beautiful sprayed edges. And we did not write any of it there, but we did write it in the coffee shop. Some of it in the coffee shop next door, which is
But
very.
I think she means like in
in Portobello.
Yeah.
We wrote the whole thing in Portobello.
Yeah.
So Portobello is the seaside town in Edinburgh where we both live.
Okay.
And we wrote most of it. I would walk over to your kitchen table and then we would sit there. And it's really interesting because, like I think I mentioned earlier, a lot of co-authors will split, divide and conquer. You take these 3 points of view, I'll take these 3 points of view. But we didn't do it that way. And it took us a while to figure out our formula. Like we were flying the plane and figuring out how to build a plane at the same time. But
that's what we say about this show.
yeah,
Rocket on the way to the moon. Yeah.
exactly. And so we would sit across, we finally figured out at your kitchen table, and one of us would like start to bullet out the scene, and then the other one would kind of zoom in on a moment, and then we would just kind of voice it out like, oh, I'm looking to like, does this sound right?
Mhm.
And then we would just pass it back and forth. So all of it was written in Portobello.
Yeah.
A lot of it was planned at the coffee shop next door to where the bookstore is, because
Yeah.
the bookstore doesn't have a coffee shop sitting area inside, or we would have.
It's practically the
There-
bookshop.
We
coffee shop,
discussed.
isn't it?
I tried to bribe them one time to knock a
To
door,
put a little
to
door
knock
through
a
it,
door
yeah.
in.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, Victoria and Kat, if you would stick around, we have more to talk to you about. But first, a few quick reminders for our listeners and viewers out there.
For all of you watching and listening, we encourage you to rush out and buy your copies of The Ending Writes Itself. And the perfect place to do that is the Friends in Fiction shop on bookshop.org. You'll not only be getting it at a discount, but all of your purchases there support our show, our guests, and indie bookstores nationwide. And this is not just something we say here week after week. Bookshop has literally raised nearly $50 million. That's $50 million for local bookstores. And they are our champions and we champion them. So shop there when you can.
And also don't forget to subscribe to our Substack newsletter. In the newsletter, there is some incredible content like you won't want to miss our recent interviews with Lisa Patton about Kissing the Sky, Amy Jo Burns with the Jenna pick for Wait for Me, Cynthia Dupree Sweeney, and Kristy just talked with Grant Ginder about his buzzy new novel, So Old, So Young. Kristin just did an incredible 10-author roundtable on Women's History Month and historical fiction. And this week, you will get a sneak peek of a green room interview with Evelyn Clarke that you do not want to miss.
That's right. Okay, Victor and Kitty Cat, back to you.
Got one left. You got one left, Mary Kay.
We would love for you to talk a bit about the dedication, which, you know, that this is a quality dedication, I must say. And it reads, I'm quoting, for the writers, each and every one of you, except for that one asshole, and you know who you are, whether you're just starting your journey or well down the road, keep fighting and keep putting pen to paper. Is she leaving?
Yeah, no, she's laughing her head off.
Outraged about the Victor.
That one. Now we're, yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go back to that. Whether you're just starting your journey or well down the road, keep fighting and keep putting pen to paper. The world needs your work, except for that aforementioned asshole. Feel free to quit anytime. I could not love that anymore. First of all, good riddance to the asshole.
Yes.
There are going to be a lot of, we're going to take bets afterwards on who the asshole is. We have, I think we all have nominations. We hope you got to kill off a fictionalized version of him or her on the page. Second, each of the writers in this book is trying to either climb out of the mid-list or trying for their start. Can you each share one piece of writing advice for those of you who are dreaming of writing a book? Kat, how about you?
Oh, I mean, I usually say read books, which sounds ridiculous, but you'd be surprised how many people want to write books without having read them. But as someone who struggles with motivation to write every day, my little secret top tip is to finish my day's writing in the middle of a sentence.
I like that.
Or, you know, if not in the middle of a sentence, in the middle of a scene, and something that you're kind of excited about and that you know what you're going to write the next day, so that when you look at that page, you're like, you can just go straight in. And that has really helped me.
Yeah.
Jump in the deep end without trying to start in the shallow. I love it. Yeah.
How about you, V?
Yeah. So I'm a technician. And as I mentioned earlier, I write my books backward from the end. I'm not doing that just to be cute. Like I do that because I have really, really severe anxiety. And if I don't know where I'm going, I will freak out. I will panic and I will convince myself it's too big. And so the analogy that I use is like, if you're working on a story or you're starting at the beginning of a story and you don't know where the ending is, it's like standing at the edge of a desert wondering why you're daunted about trying to cross it. But if you can figure out an ending, come up with an ending that just like excites you so much, then all of a sudden you have a football field. It's still a really long, that's a lot of steps, but you can see the other side. On good days, you are motivated to get there. On bad days, it will keep you from quitting because you can see it. And then if you do get stuck, you can say, okay, well, what's on the 10-yard line? What's on the 20? What's on the 30? And you can make a road for yourself. So especially for those just starting who are looking for the confidence of like, I don't want to embark on this and fail. I don't want to get lost along the way. Working backwards from an ending that you really, really want, even if that ending changes later, it's going to get you to the end of a first draft.
I need to know if you write that ending or if you just know what it is.
I note take it. So I know the beat pretty thoroughly. I don't actually write any of the book words until it's time to write the book words. But I know the feeling. Sometimes it's a still frame. I know the image. I know where everyone is at the end of it. I know who's alive, who's dead, and what's the last shot.
Love it. All right. Speaking of writing, technician, ends, getting your butt in the chair, all of it. What is up next for both of you? What are we laughing at?
Oh, with the Chiron.
Oh.
I want a screenshot of that.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
What's next?
Authors of Please Stop.
Sean, put it back on so they can take a screenshot.
Yeah, I need to take a picture.
I'm embracing kitty cat. I think it's kind of cute.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What's next?
What is next for both of you, Kat?
Well, there will be more from Please Stop Calling Us That
Yes.
or Evelyn Clarke.
Yay!
We can't say too much about.
But I can
Oh,
say
what can you say?
that you didn't want to do another book.
Yeah, I did not.
Because I walked into the kitchen where we were writing like about 2/3 of the way through the book. And I was like, business, we probably should have a second book because you will want to get a 2-book deal. That's just good business, right? And Kat, you said.
I swore
You
at
swore.
you and left the room.
And then?
And then I came back like 2 minutes later and I was like, I have an idea.
Yeah. See?
Yeah,
And that one I didn't force you.
You got me again.
I did.
You got me again.
So we have a second book.
Oh, that
Oh,
makes
I
me
love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
It's such a
exciting. How about
satisfying
individually?
thing to know that there's another one coming down the pike.
I know.
Yeah.
Evelyn has her sights set on some new people.
Awesome.
Mysterious.
And how about individually? Are you both working on individual projects as well?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a book called Victorious coming out this fall, which is the finale 13 years in the making of my very first adult fantasy series. So adult thriller series that started with Vicious back in 2013. And the final book is coming out in October.
No
Oh
pressure.
my God.
No pressure whatsoever.
That is amazing. And Kat, how about you? What are you working on?
I've been cheating on the Bixter. Oh, you didn't know this.
I didn't know about this.
Co-writing a horror
Oh, I knew about this.
film script.
I knew about this.
With a friend of mine. And yeah, there's a couple of other things I may be playing with soon, but
I didn't know about any of this, by the way.
yeah. I'm waiting until the tour is over to tell me.
Well, we are the therapist office and an
Amazing.
interview show. So
That's right. Exactly. Okay.
It's
I
a
also
knives out scenario right there.
I have to read this comment from Robin Shelley. She says, V's newsletter is fabulous. I cannot believe she creates such a thoughtful newsletter each time when she's so busy. So I just wanted to pass that on. That was a sweet comment from Robin Shelley. Okay. So ladies, I know you are on tour right now with stops in San Diego tonight, as well as Maple Grove, Minnesota tomorrow. And then later in the week, Nashville, St. Louis, Arlington, Virginia, and New York. What is the best part about getting to tour a book together?
Okay, it hasn't happened yet. But it's hot chicken.
She's never had hot chicken.
Hot chicken. I've heard so much about.
in
I'm-
Nashville. Yes.
I am concerned. So I lived in Nashville for almost 20 years. I am concerned. I'm mostly concerned because that meal either has to happen before an event or before we get on a plane. And either way just seems like a real dodgy time to be eating hot chicken
For the first time.
for the first time.
Unaware of its consequences.
Exactly. I have shown her the very famous clip of Anthony Bourdain where it cuts forward 10 hours in his No Reservation series because he couldn't handle it. So we are just going to take it. But I am very excited.
can't
I
wait.
also have not tried hot chicken because one time a friend of mine got it and opened the box 2 rooms away and I started coughing.
So you're going to try it too?
Yeah, of course. I'm not a chicken. So yes, but yes, it's the things, it's the little things. Like tour is very stressful. It's very hard hours. And so you end up finding really random little pieces of joy wherever you can.
Finding good coffee shops in airports.
Yes.
That's a
Finding
joy.
the least bad coffee shops in airports, but also, really great like food finds. You have to think outside the box. You got to see what's still open when the event ends. There's a lot of food eaten with no pants on, standing up at a dresser in your bed, in your hotel room, just being like, just eat this. You can go to bed.
You could have what my grandchildren call the pants off, dance off.
Exactly.
I love it.
Pants off, snacks on.
Awesome.
All right, everyone. I need you to both tell everyone quickly where we can find you online.
Ooh.
We're at Evelyn Clarke Wright
On Instagram.
Writes.
Right. Evelyn Clarke Writes on Instagram. We also have our own respective Instagrams, but if you go to the Evelyn Clarke Instagram, you can find both of our handles there.
Excellent.
Primarily,
That's the main.
that's the
place.
main one.
Yeah.
I have my newsletter, which goes out monthly, but otherwise it's just me on Instagram.
Okay, great.
All right,
That's
perfect.
right.
Well, thank you two so much for joining us. It was such a pleasure speaking with both of you.
This was a joy. Thank you.
Aw,
It was
thank you.
our
Thanks for being with
pleasure
us on the Friends
entirely.
and Fiction Show.
Y'all are amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, be sure to tune in next week when Kristy and I are going to welcome Tana French to discuss her new novel, The Keeper, which just debuted on the New York Times bestseller list at number 4, I think.
It's pretty high, 3 or 4, yeah.
Yeah. And that show will air on the Friends in Fiction Facebook page and YouTube channel on next Wednesday, April 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern. And it will be published to our podcast for your listening pleasure on Friday, April 17th.
Thank you to all of you out there for being with us. And here's to the next 6 years of Friends in Fiction. We'll see you next time.
See you soon.
Thanks for tuning in to Friends and Fiction, hosted by New York Times bestselling authors Mary Kay Andrews, Patti Callahan Henry, Kristy Woodson Harvey, and Kristin Harmel. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, subscribe to our Substack newsletter, and catch us on Facebook and YouTube, where a new episode of our show airs every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. You can
You guys
also
are great.
listen to Friends in Fiction
You ladies are
wherever
great.
you get your podcasts. Find out about